Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Horror Heathen YouTube channel and the South Jersey Horror Podcast. Today, I have a very talented and special guest, Caito Aase, she's an award-winning actress, which makes it much more better. And she, and she portrays a character named Angie Pitarelli. Oh God, I probably
You
just
did
fucked
it.
that
No,
name
you
up.
did it. It's great.
Sweet. All right, cool. In the movie called Revealer, which is a very interesting movie and has a lot of H.P. Lovecraftian cosmic horror shit in it, which I absolutely love. Um, so what's the movie about? I'm glad you asked because I'm going to tell you anyway. Um, it's tensions rise when the exotic dancer and a religious protester are trapped together in a peep show booth and must come together to survive the apocalypse in 1980 Chicago. This synopsis captured me in a heartbeat. I'm like, you know what? I got to check this movie out, and I am sure as shit glad I did because it was a great movie. I mean, the oh my god, the colorful shit in the background and the reference to H.P. Lovecraft cosmic horror, absolutely love. I'm going to shut the fuck up now because I talk too much. So I'm gonna reel my guest in and let her do the rest of talking the entire interview because I suck at this shit. So here we go. Please give me a warm welcome to Caito. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Pleasure and honor is all mine. I am super glad you accepted to do this because I was really worried about it. To be honest, I mean, yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I'm so glad you asked because I hope I'm approachable. I hope I'm easy to talk to. So I'm glad you reached out.
Well, I love it because I mean I was hoping to get somebody from the movie because I love it so much. So anyway, your character, Angie, is I'm not gonna say the other word. The other word bothers me. I'm gonna call it exotic dancer, okay?
Mhm.
Because I hate the word stripper. It sounds so demeaning for some people. I
Sure.
mean, but yeah. If you could, please bless us with some knowledge about you, a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
Oh, and me as Caito, not as Angie.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Caito. I am originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Um, and I have lived in Chicago for the last, it's been a very long time. I've been in Chicago. Yeah, I like many of us went to school for theater and was like hell bent on like I will be a classical actor and that will be it. And then I completely fell backwards into film. I was cast in my first film in 2016 by Sarah Casey, who was the casting director on Revealer, and it was this like really weird like Alice in Wonderland experience because I had done on camera classes, but I had never done a film before. And I like when I was finished with that project, I was like, oh, I get it now. I understand why people do film. And I was pretty voracious about it. And then Sarah again, she was like, hey, there's this script, it's a sex worker who fights demons in the 80s. Do you want to read for it? And I was like, yeah, yes, yes. And like a resound, she got halfway through the sentence. I was like, yes, please. So I got the opportunity to read for it. And then 2020, we were in the middle of lockdown and we made a movie and it was really, really wild and sweaty because it was in the middle of August with no air conditioning.
God, hell no.
I
Jesus
know.
Christ.
It's funny.
So that's what drew you to the movie is an exotic dancer fighting demons.
Yeah, and I think the pitch was great. It was exotic dancer fighting demons specifically in the 80s. I knew one of the writers on it, Tim Seeley, because I'm a huge nerd and he's an incredible writer of comic books. He wrote Revival, which is coming out soon, TBD. And I had not read Michael Morici's work, but he's done a ton of stuff, Stranger Things and Star Wars and comic book things. He wrote one called Barbaric. Yes, that's right. Um, and I just was really excited that this was a script written by comic book guys because that's like I've been a nerd my whole life. I've been like a big con goer my whole life, so I like knew of these people. So I was like, holy shit, I get this opportunity. So yeah, I mean the whole thing from top to tail was just a perfect pitch, and I immediately said yes. So
It's awesome. So I love talking to fellow nerds because I'm not only a nerd about horror, but I love Star Wars too. So it's great.
perfect.
But you want to see them in the background. This is all Michael Myers shit. So you have to see
Yes.
all the Star Wars stuff is outside this room. So Anyway, there's a show on TV which I discovered because I'm an asshole and an idiot. It's called Last Fan Standing, hosted by Bruce Campbell.
Oh my
And
God, that's so fun.
yeah, because I'm like, dude, I didn't want to be on this show. I want to be a contestant, but I noticed all the contestants are from the Pacific Northwest. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So
Oh,
I guess it's like a PNW show. I guess I don't know, in
a
order to be on the
regional
show.
thing. Oh,
Yeah,
I if Bruce Campbell lives in PNW, like that does not surprise me at all. That sounds like a perfect place for him to live.
but actually, because no, Bruce Campbell's actually from Michigan. But
Oh wow, okay.
yeah, I can't remember where, but I think it's like Battle Creek, Michigan or some shit. I can't remember. He actually said it on the show last night. So I started watching season one with my wife, and her and I are just snapping off like with answers to these questions. And I look at like, Jesus Christ, I love you. You're such a nerd. I love it. It's
I love a
great.
nerd. I love nerds. I've been, yeah, like I said, I've been a nerd my whole life. I'm part of a nerd burlesque company. I am a Twitch streamer. I like nerddom is my bread and butter. So I feel you.
I tried to do the whole Twitch thing. I couldn't get into it, so it doesn't work for me. I don't know how to do it. I might have to come back. I might have to come back to you first with advice how
I
to get that kicked off.
It's really
So
fun. I don't stream on my own. I am on a TTRPG channel called Folk and Myth, and we do a lot of like Vampire the Masquerade and cult and like dark horror games, which is really fun. So it's nice to be able to like flex acting muscles that way too.
I think you and Anastasia Elephant would get along just great because she
Oh,
does the
let's
same
connect.
shit.
Yes,
So
let's
yeah,
connect. Oh my God, I would
she's
love that.
awesome. You'll find her on Facebook. She answers her messages like immediately. So Anastasia Elephant and her husband Richard are phenomenal.
Oh,
They do a
amazing.
bunch of indie shit, which they came out with called oh god, what they call it? Bloody Bridget, a vampire stripper.
Perfect. I love it.
So,
Chef's
I'm
kiss.
like,
No notes.
it was great. I mean, it was a great movie. I mean, they should have screened it with me, and like, okay, I need to get you two on my show because you
Yeah.
and Richard is like the most obscene guy I ever met, but I love him. So
I definitely want to connect. So please
yeah,
connect me with them. That sounds great.
yeah. So yeah, just look on. I don't know if they're on Facebook or not. They're on Instagram as well. But
Cool.
Anastasia Elfman, just reach out to her, tell her, hey, Ben sent you. She knows exactly who I am.
Great.
So anyway, we deviated. I'm sorry. You give me
That's
talk about
okay.
nerd shit. I won't shut up. So
Sorry,
um,
my bad.
so from your own perspective, your character Angie, can
Yeah.
you describe her?
I think that she is like a pretty I think she's a pretty intense person, but I think that she has a lot of heart and a lot of empathy, and her drive to through all of her actions is through love and through supporting as you find it. I'm assuming that people, it's like spoiler alert stuff, but is through
Yeah, they kiss
supporting.
my ass.
Yeah. It's through supporting her family. And I think that I think the real reason why I loved Angie so much, and it's just like this rich heart that she has, especially when it comes to, I think that there's so much stigma around sex work, which is really fucking stupid. And, her whole goal in working was to earn money to raise this kid that is not hers, and she would do anything for. So um I think she definitely has, like, she's kind of got this like spiky guard up, but she's just like she's got a gooey nougaty center of like love and care, but you got to get through that like really rough barrier first before you find out who she is and why she is the way she is.
Like a Tootsie Roll Pop. I mean, you gotta just keep going until you get to the gooey center.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I swear there's a good payoff.
So, in your defense and in Angie's defense, I think if an exotic dancer does what she does with good intent, it could be, in my opinion, it's a job. It's
It's a job.
employment.
It's a job.
So,
Sex
yeah,
work is work,
I
and
mean,
I stand by that for sure. So
it's just too bad I don't have the talent for that kind of stuff. I pay myself through. I pay my way through college if I could do that. So,
hey, there you go.
first of all, I'm white. I have no rhythm, and I suck at dancing. Okay, so it's good.
Oh no, somebody strikes against you.
So, if I'm listening to music while I'm cooking in the kitchen, I start dancing. My wife's just like, just stop.
I'm gonna
You,
just hold you
it's like,
here and not let you move.
like you're whiter. You're whiter than Colgate. Just stop. Okay, just stop dancing.
Oh no.
I had no. It doesn't make me angry. I laugh with her about it. It's like you're right. I do suck at dancing. I have no rhythm. I mean, I'm like a drunk person on Saturday Night Live, just trying to dance. I can't. So anyway,
Perfect. Love it.
so what was it like depicting your character, like having to look deep inside herself? I mean, how did she learn to confront her own injustices? I mean, as being as a dancer.
That's a really good question. I feel like there's a duality in terms of this line of work. I'm not afraid to admit that I have been in the industry, and I think that there's a duality in the line of work because there's like a lot of empowerment that goes into it and a lot of feeling like you have a lot of agency and control over what you're doing and how you're doing it, while also we live in a society that doesn't support that and doesn't view it as like what we were saying, like with a job. So I think that there is, no matter what she believes at her core, which is that like I am doing this, I like what I do, there's that line like I like what I do. I think that it's hard for her to not hear the Sallyisms of like you're a whore, you're a harlot, what you're doing is evil, like it's hard not to hear those things despite the fact that she like deflects them as much as she can. So I think that I think that exists in her. And I think when, there's a turning point in the second act of the film where Shayna and I are in the tunnels and we're talking about like our motivations behind what we do. And I think that that was kind of like the pivotal point of like, this is the type of work I am doing in order to, you know, make my way in the world and support people that I love. So yeah, kind of going back to what I was saying. So I think there is like this like gas pedal struggle, right? Like trying to find the clutch of like, not overdoing it with the guardedness, but also not being so vulnerable that the car can stall out. So it's just like kind of a balancing act playing Angie.
Jesus Christ, that was a very elaborate answer. I loved it. I mean, it sounds like you answered that question before many times.
I just have strong opinions.
I see that and I
Yeah,
appreciate it. I mean,
thank you.
don't hold the back of my account. I mean, just don't
Yeah.
hold bar this show. Fuck it,
Yeah.
Yeah. So every director attempts to convey a message in the movie.
Hmm.
And some people are just like, whatever, I'm gonna watch the exotic dancer, not paying attention to the storyline, whatever, because you got the perverts. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think the message was? This director, oh God, what's his name? Jesus Christ, I can't remember who did this movie. Um,
Luke Boyce.
yeah, Luke, that's it.
Yes.
Cool
Mhm.
hand Luke. What message do you think Luke was intended when he did this movie?
Luke and I, and like all of us, because we were in this like really tight bubble, literal COVID bubble when we shot this. Luke and I got really close as friends over the time that we did this, and there was so much talking about it back and forth. And there's so much communication also with Tim and Mike on the like text of it as well. I think that Luke, I don't want to speak for him, but Luke is like a voracious horror avid fan. He is such a film person. And I think that he really was going for, you know, a balance between like homage and like really letting Angie and Sally carry the story because it is, kind of like using some of my like theater education stuff. It's like a parlor drama in a way in this like extreme circumstance. Like it's almost like a parlor drama between the two of us of, if you've read any like French theater, it very, very much falls in that category of like, it's more so about the back and forth of these two people who have diametrically opposed views, but realize that they're like on the same, it's the same side of the
Yeah.
coin. They don't realize that they're on the same coin phase, until later. um so I think that Luke was really trying to highlight the differences and the similarities between these two people. And we live in a world where opinions are just like hurled at each other all the time, and we don't realize that there's like a common uniting factor of humanity and empathy and survival and support and community that is just inherently there. So I think that Luke was really trying to encapsulate that with these two different people. And also, the fact that it was set in the 80s, and there's a very specific shot that is like such an homage to Evil Dead, where we had like a gimbal that he was running with that we had to do a couple times because it was really hard to get. So like there are little bits of love notes. There's a lot of like Hellraiser references in there. There's things in the text that are horror references, and it just felt like such a love story or a love letter to horror film too. So I think those were like two of the main goals. I'd have to call him and ask him, but that was kind of like a big thing that we talked about a lot too.
Again with the elaborate answer. Thank you so much.
If you give a mouse a cookie, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run. And
It was great. I mean, you're giving me like the really long answers, and it's phenomenal. I love this. You're the first person to do that, and it's great. I mean,
hooray.
before he the first, elaborate answers brought to you by. I mean, so it's no, I'm kidding. You're great. I love it.
Thank you.
Um, so throughout the movie, we watch where it's two women fighting for their lives,
Right.
and how the hell did that dynamic work for you two, like on and off screen? I mean,
I mean, I love Shayna, and I hope that you also get an opportunity to talk to her because we've been texting a little bit about it, and I hope that you get an opportunity to talk to her and get her perspective on it because it's really, really valuable. Shayna and I had known each other in the acting community for a while, but this was like the first time we really came together as people, and we really gelled very quickly. There was just like a whole lot of love between us, like, whether that be, sitting and reading lines together, or there's a specific scene where her character goes through this like really kind of epic and upsetting monologue. She's very tearful, and we had to do it a few times just because, like, we wanted to have a few different kind of takes with it, and it was pretty taxing. I think, I don't want to speak for Shayna, but like I could tell it was like an emotional thing. And we just would like sit in that like built studio closet, like holding hands and like just sitting with each other. And if you see the blooper reel at any point, there's just a lot of us like cracking fucking jokes and making stupid songs that like there were a few moments like towards the end of filming where we were getting really loopy, and it's just us like muttering to each other and like having this weird like brain sync up. So I do really appreciate with Shayna that we would have these really intense scenes specifically regarding like yelling at each other and like kind of like big fuck you, no fuck you energy that was happening. And after we would finish a take, there was just like an immediate check-in of like, hey, are you okay? There was an understanding that like, this is a separation of character and person. So there was just a lot of care and support for both of us, and making sure that we as scene partners like fostered the best possible environment for each other to excel. So I deeply appreciate Shayna for all of that.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think I did reach out to her via email or to her agent or publicist,
Yes.
and no response back yet. So
Don't worry about it. It'll happen, I'm sure.
yes, I always that's my goal is always to get the lead characters or the first victim on my shows. But whatever.
Cool. Yeah.
So yeah, but I'll take what I'll take what I can get. I mean, um, I got sent a request out this morning to some random actor in one of the Paranormal Activity movies. Very small
Fun.
minimal role, but it's a small minimal role, but it's a very important role.
Yeah.
So see, it's like a 5 minute screen time. It's like I don't give a shit. I mean,
Yeah.
you have an important role in the movie. I want to talk to you about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's great.
Anyway, um, Jesus Christ, I lost my train of thought now.
No,
Fucking
you're
hell.
good.
All right, give me a second. Coming back to me now. Fuck me. I'm stupid. I'm the worst host in the world.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah. What do you feel like playing Angie? What do you feel was like given to your character? Like anything special? Like no, I'm just at this point I'm asking random questions, but which I think makes sense. I don't know.
So let me see if I am understanding you. Like, what was like can you tell me what you're looking for answer wise? Sorry.
You want to unpack that a little more? Okay. What do you feel you added to the character you portrayed? I mean,
Yeah.
do you think you feel?
Um,
Yeah, that. Go for it. Let it rip.
yeah, that's a really good question. I think that like I don't know, maybe I'm patting myself on the back a little bit too much, but my partner always says that I'm really quippy, and I'm really like I have like one-liners really quickly. So there are a lot of ad libs in there that are mine. Um, that I like threw in as like character nuance, like delivery or lines that I just was like, "Hey Luke, can I ad lib here?" And he was like, "Go for it!" And like let me off the leash. Um, so that was really fun. The whole dance sequence, I choreographed that whole thing. That was all like internal work. One of the things that Luke really liked about my audition is that I'm a burlesque dancer also, so I have like an understanding of chair choreography. So I teach it like at schools here in Chicago, and so I was able to like bring that skill set to the table, and I like sent him with my audition. I sent in one of my like award-winning chair acts from like burlesque festivals, and he was like, "This is great. Can we please use this?" Because we didn't have like a pole or any kind of like setup in the booth, because the booth was like,
Right.
6 by 6. So being able to choreograph and bring that to the table was really cool. Luke and I collaborated specifically on what song I was dancing to. So we actually got in touch with Gunship, who did a couple songs in the film, and we got the rights to that song to use it for that big like chair dance montage that she has. So that felt really cool, and that felt like a very unique thing that I was able to bring to the table with Angie. I also am like, again, a huge nerd. So I like created an entire like astrological birth chart for Angie. So I had like a sense of like where her placements might be. Cause I'm again, a witchy nerd. So that was really fun to like, I still have it somewhere. I should find it. But yeah, that was really fun to do. I feel like I was able to connect with Angie um kind of like on a deeper level from some other roles maybe that I've played in the past in some plays or things like that. But I really I love Angie, and I will always love Angie.
That's awesome. So, gentlemen, if you go back and watch the movie, please keep your tongues in your mouths and stop sweating. It'll be okay, I
And
promise.
no wet
So,
bills.
oh God, that's disgusting. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
slimy floors pass. So,
Yeah. The slimy floor and the sign that said no wet bills like sent me over the roof. I was like, bye.
I need to make that sign. I'll put them on front doors, just saying. Solicitors come walking up. So,
They're like, what?
like, do we really want to knock on this guy's door?
Oh boy.
Probably not. I I hate solicitors. I've been telling you. I mean, ridiculous. Believe it or not, no shit. Quick story. I was getting new windows put into my house, right?
Uh-huh.
Like all around my house, and I have window solicitors coming up to my house asking me if I wanted new windows.
You're like, I'm
And I
there.
said,
It's literally happening right now.
I said, dude, look around you, man. Do you not see what's happening? And he's
I
like,
already paid these guys
oh.
for the job.
I said, GTFO, get off my property. So,
Oh, capitalism. You never cease
before I
to
punch
amaze
you,
me.
I'm gonna punch you in the throat if you don't walk away. Just
Oh
say
my God.
ridiculous. I hate solicitors. I have it on my front door. No solicitors. They still knock on my fucking door. It pisses me off. Anyway, so like you said, this movie was filmed during COVID, which I'm sure presented a challenge for everybody on set.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
you're shaking, you're nodding your head, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask a typical question. Don't worry. So, were there any other challenges besides filming during COVID? I mean, what you said would be the biggest challenge, being because COVID was a pain in the ass. I mean, I still think it was made up, but that's my opinion. Anyway,
COVID was really intense. I one of the most difficult things was that we shot this in August, in Illinois, and I don't know if you know anything about the Midwest, but Midwest summers are grueling. They're so humid, and we were shooting in it was an old like kind of office supply building. So like the front half of the building was like crew holding and cast holding and things like that, and then the back half they had built a set which was incredible. They just built this amazing set of the peep show. So there were like tunnels and paths, and there's like a full counter full of sex toys. It was wild. um and then the whole thing could flip and be converted into the tunnels, so we're all on set for that except for the few outdoor scenes that we shot. um but the other part of it was that it was like 85 degrees with no air conditioning. So we like whatever sweat you see on us is real. Like we're sweating buckets, we're dehydrated, like, and shooting, I can't remember exactly our shoot schedule. I think we had like 16 days total. It was a very, very tight shoot schedule. So we were moving quickly and we had long days and it was hot. So like that was a really big challenge. I think also just the fact that with the COVID restrictions that we couldn't like just like hang out as cast and crew afterwards. Like the way that we had to hang out was like on the parking lot rooftop, like all spaced out. So we're like waving to each other and like rolling beers to each other. It was wild. Um, so there was a little bit of that, but I think in a way, I think that that kind of created a greater sense of camaraderie of just like really getting to know each other. And, when you're only seeing like the same 15 people every day for like a full month, it's like, yeah, you get to know these people and you get to really kind of love them. And it just, those are kind of the biggest restrictions, but yeah, the heat.
I get it. Like I said, I went to basic training in Great Lakes during June,
Yep.
and hot as fucking balls, man. I mean,
Yeah. That was
at one point,
June.
yeah, yeah. Because my neighbor, the recruiter said when I first signed up, I was a delayed entry program for a year, and he asked me, "Do you want to go to Great Lakes during the winter time or the summertime?" Like, fuck winter time. I'll go during the summer. So,
Oops.
big mistake. I should have gone during the winter time instead. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will also say that it's like a negative 15 outside right now. So
So I'm like, there's no in between. It's like, can you like put like fall or spring or some shit? Why
yeah,
why
just
those two
something
time frames?
something
So
nice. Yeah.
so anyway, we're doing like physical training outside, and it was like heat condition 5. So which means like it's 100 degrees or more, and we're on a blacktop running around, and I'm just dying. I'm like, you know what? I'm stopping. Fuck you guys. Time out.
Wow.
But the instructor's looking at me like, "There's no timeout here, buddy. You just keep running." I'm like, "Son of a bitch."
Wow.
So,
Brutal. Oh
yeah.
God.
Anyway, that's a long time ago. Then I get up, join the army 3 years later, and I deployed to Afghanistan, which is nuts, even more nuts. Hot as fuck over there too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sitting in a tin can with no air conditioning. Fuck that noise. I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and people wonder why when I get hot and overheated, it triggers my PTSD. So they wonder why.
Yeah. Hey.
So this movie is set in Chicago in the
Hmm.
1980s, which I fucking absolutely love. 80s
Yeah.
was like the best era ever around. I miss the 80s. They need to bring it back. I really wish they would. The leg warmers, the Aquanet hairspray, the
Yes.
boom boxes, the cassette players, fucking goddamn Bruce Springsteen and tight blue jeans. Come on now, just do it. Just
Lost
bring that shit
Boys.
back. Yeah, it's a lot. My wife's favorite vampire movie, by the way, is
I
Lost Boys.
love Lost Boys. I
Yeah.
love that movie.
So I'm gonna tell her, honey, she loves the Lost Boys. Anyway, she's like, what? um, anyway, bring back the 80s. But
Yes.
however, seeing how the 80s was a big influence on this movie, and I
Yeah.
love it. Oh shit, you already gave me the answer to this question. God damn it, I'm gonna skip
Wait.
this question.
No, wait, what
Anyway,
is it? What is it? I don't know. They're
so
both before.
what was the biggest 80s what is the biggest 1980s horror movie influences of this movie?
Lost
So
Boys was a huge influence on this film for sure. Yeah, there were a lot of influences. Lost Boys, Evil Dead, just we really wanted it to be like neon soaked and evocative of that era. And I think all of us are pretty like diehard fans of the 80s, and 80s horror is just like so iconic. I think also specifically it being in the 80s, the satanic panic of it all, right? Like that's just like such a catalyst in this
yeah,
film. So I think that because the satanic panic was a very real thing that was happening, I think, and it influenced so much horror that came out from that year. There's so much we could play with. And additionally, the fact that there were no cell phones or
right,
ways of contacting other people, or, like there was no tech. So like
yeah.
it really did strip it down to like the core of humanity. So
It's funny he mentioned Satanic Panic because I talked to Ruby Modine a few months ago, who plays in the Satanic Panic,
yeah.
and
Oh, amazing.
she said she absolutely loved being in that movie. She played the victim, the cult leader's daughter. So yeah,
Oh my God. I loved that movie.
yeah,
That movie was so
yeah.
great.
She said she loved going along with playing with the other Chelsea, the director.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. I'm so glad I got her on my show too. She was good to
Oh,
talk to.
that's so great. I
So
love that.
as we wrap it up, I saw from the IMDb page your latest project is called Black Mold.
Yes.
So I'm believe it or not, no shit, will be interviewing Maisie Murlock next month.
I love
So
Maisie.
so
Say
yeah,
hi to her for
I
me.
will
I
absolutely.
love
I'll
her.
drop. I will absolutely drop your name in the interview. So I'll be talking to her next month about her role.
Great.
I still have to watch the movie yet, but I have until February. So
Yeah.
um
You're going to love it.
so
It's
pre
fantastic.
so for those who don't know what Black Mold is about, briefly, could you tell us what's about?
Yeah. So this film, set in the 90s, is about
10 years
these.
later, people.
I'm just moving up decade wise in my filmmaking. So it's about these urban photographers who go and explore abandoned sites until they wind up in a government test facility. They never say like what kind of testing it is. It just said it was like an abandoned government test site. And they get in there, and then really weird shit starts to happen. And there's this, without giving too much away because you haven't seen it yet, there's this kind of balance between like what's real and what's not, and how much of it is hallucination and how much of it is really happening around them. And it is that kind of like trapped circumstance feeling. So in that, I get to play the like getaway driver, named CJ, who is very evocative of like Favors a Balk, kind of like a scuzz punk, greasy haired
I love it.
woman.
I love it already.
Yeah,
I've seen the movie. I already love it.
she's fun. I really like her, and I got to drive this like 1967 Jeep Wagoneer that we had to start with a screwdriver, and it died at one point, and like we had to have a scene where like I'm driving up and like dropping these guys off, and like the car was dead, so we were pulling it. There was so much crazy shit that happened on Black Bolt too. I loved it. It was great.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that too
Yeah.
because I love interviewing child actors because they love to talk about their roles so much
Yeah.
because it's a huge impact on their lives, and I love hearing about every single word.
Yeah.
Like Emily McLean, Megan McDonald, people I've talked to in the past about major roles. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's all the time we have. I got 2 minutes
Yeah.
left before Zoom's is an asshole and says to cut us out. So you've been fantastic, phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and you're awesome. Please stay amazing. I really wish you would, and
Thank you.
I wish you nothing but success in your career and whatever future projects you got going on. And if I could sum you up in one word, it'd be fucking amazeballs. Okay,
Oh
that'd
my
be my
God.
word.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah, I had fun. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the beautiful, the talented, the awesome Caito Aase from Revealer. If you have not seen it, check it out now. You're missing out on some good shit. So, especially if you're a fan from the 80s and you love HP Lovecraft and cosmic horror, if you don't like this movie, you can kiss my white Irish ass, okay? Just deal with it.
Check it out, y'all.
And then, and as I always say, I will see you on the big screen.